I'll be completely honest, when Days Gone was announced back in 2016, I wasn't completely sold on it. Yet another open world game, a zombie-based open world game at that. The premise didn't really interest me, and the demo we saw back then looked a little bit shoddy to say the best. However, as time has gone on, as we've seen more and more gameplay and we've heard more about this game, Days Gone has really captured my interest, and now it's one of my most anticipated upcoming PlayStation 4 titles, and we're gonna be talking all about Days Gone. The release is less than a month away, and we're gonna be highlighting 20 huge things that you need to know about Days Gone before you buy. Without further ado, let's get through everything. First up, I always like to give you guys some background on the studio that's working on the game. This game is being developed by Sony Bend Studio, an incredibly talented first-party studio of Sony's. They were founded back in 1993, and they've worked on some great games. Going back to the original PlayStation, I'll point to games like Siphon Filter, Siphon Filter 2, Siphon Filter 3. On the PlayStation 2, they continued that wave with Siphon Filter The Omega Strain, Siphon Filter Dark Mirror, Siphon Filter Logan Shadow, that was a PSP title. And then they did transition with Logan Shadow to more portable titles such as Resistance Retribution, a great game on the PlayStation Portable. I know a lot of you guys love Resistance, but if you didn't play Resistance Retribution, you're doing yourself a grave disservice. That was a great third-person shooter. Uncharted Golden Abyss, of course, on the PlayStation Vita. And you can make the argument that Golden Abyss was a AAA game, but it was still a portable game. After Golden Abyss, that's when work on Days Gone really started, and this is their first foray back into a console game in what, over 10 years? Yes, it's been 12 years since the release of Logan Shadow on the PlayStation 2. Logan Shadow was released both on the PSP and PlayStation 2. So you know Bend Studio has a lot of pressure on them to deliver a high-quality product as they are transitioning back into console gaming. Number 2, so how long has Days Gone been in development for? Well, it's been in development for 5 years. The first idea for the game came after making Uncharted Golden Abyss on the PlayStation Vita. And there were a lot of developers working on the game. More than 100 developers were working on it, and the team has doubled in size since 2016. Number 3, so I gave you a little bit of a background on the studio. How about the game itself? Well, Days Gone is an action-adventure survival horror game set in a post-apocalyptic world. Obviously, it's played from a third-person perspective, and you play as Deacon St. John, a former outlaw turned drifter and bounty hunter who prefers life on the road to wilderness encampments. The game takes place 2 years after a global pandemic occurred which killed almost all of humanity and transformed millions of others into freakers, mindless zombie-like creatures that are quickly evolving. Number 4, now one of my major concerns going into Days Gone when the game was announced was the fact that yes, it was this open-world zombie game, but I really thought that it was going to be this mindless open-world zombie game without a strong narrative. Obviously, I was proven wrong on that, and the game actually has a total of 6 hours of cutscene content. That makes it pretty equatable to the cutscenes we saw in God of War as well as Marvel Spider-Man, and if you guys played those two games, you know that the narratives are very, very strong in those titles. So I'm expecting something very similar out of Days Gone, and the entirety of the game will take around 30 hours to beat. That depends on a lot of different factors, whether or not you want to do all the side content, whether or not you want to rush through the game. That number will fluctuate a little bit. Number 5, speaking of this story, the story is going to be a little bit variable as well, as the game will feature narrative choices such as deciding whether or not a character should be given a mercy killing or left for the infected to kill. It's whether or not what kind of consequences will come because of these choices. However, those choices will be made throughout the game. Number 6, now obviously this is an open world game, and I mentioned how it takes around 30 hours to beat depending on how much time you take throughout the game, but I do want to make mention of the fact that the game will feature no fetch quests or time trials. This is so imperative in an open world game because a lot of the times, yes, we see content being thrown in a game and games will tout, oh, we have X amount of hours of content or whatever the case may be, but a lot of that content just seems pushed in there for the sake of content just being in there. In the case of Days Gone, and I have to say the majority of PlayStation 4 exclusives, we don't see a lot of low quality, more superficial content. The content in there matters, in the fact that they aren't putting in fetch quests or time trials. Not to say that those things are necessarily bad, I just think it's an indictment about the route they're taking this game, and that makes me even more excited. Number 7, so there aren't going to be fetch quests and time trials. What can you do throughout the game? Well, there are going to be radio towers that you can climb to scout. Those are in the game. There are going to be lots of collectibles throughout the world, multiple side things to do like freaker bounties, hunting animals, and camps to clear. And I also want to add that stats are tracked, like how many freakers you've killed and more miscellaneous things like that, so those are always trackable and you can improve upon that. Number 8, there are also going to be massive metropolitan areas that you're going to be able to explore throughout the game. Expect the game to feature a wide variety of different locales. I just wanted to make mention of that specifically. Number 9, now often when talking about Days Gone, you're going to hear people use the word zombie. Hell, I just said it a little while ago. However, in specific context of the game itself, the word zombie never appears in the game. They are specifically called freakers, and you'll even notice noticed this. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to Sony Ben Studios interviews and whatnot, but they always make mention of the fact that these aren't zombies, they are freakers. Yes, they look like zombies. Just be mindful of the fact that they are represented as freakers, and considering how adamant Ben Studio has been about that fact, I imagine that plays some sort of role. Number 10. Now, there are going to be times where you are fighting against massive waves of zombies, or rather, should I say freakers. There I go doing it. The E3 2016 demo had about 500 freakers that Deacon had to fight off against. A 300 freaker horde is considered a baby horde, so expect that a little bit more frequently. But yeah, there are going to be times where you have to fight off against many freakers, or probably best case scenario, you're going to be running away. Number 11. Now, there are going to be multiple important characters in Days Gone, but Deacon is the only playable character. The story centers around him, and the narrative that plays out is about Deacon and his story. It was noted that DLC is possible exploring other characters, but as far as playable characters go, Deacon is the only one. Number 12. Speaking of Deacon, Deacon has an ability known as Survival Vision, which highlights items of interest, and it can be upgraded to highlight enemies. And speaking of upgrades, Deacon himself is also upgradable through stamina, health, bullet time slowdown. All of those elements are upgradable. Number 13. Yes, the story plays out in the open world and present. However, there are also going to be flashback missions where you learn about Deacon's past with Sarah. The relationship between Deacon and Sarah is one of the integral elements of the game, and the context and layers of that will be explored through flashback missions. Number 14. From the looks of it, it looks like the player can carry at least 2 firearms at a time or use melee weapons such as axes, and I'm sure a litany of other melee weapons will also be available at your disposal. Number 15. Speaking of firearms, a wide variety of weapons are going to be available. This includes shotguns, sniper rifles, Molotov cocktails, pistols, LMGs, grenades, napalm, and much more on top of that. You'll be able to battle the freakers exactly how you want to. Number 16. Now, one of the other integral elements of Days Gone, as you're probably aware of, is the bike. Deacon's bike is completely upgradable with cosmetic upgrades such as paint jobs. You can increase fuel efficiency and durability, swap out tires based on the weather. It also serves as a mobile inventory to hold ammunition and supplies. Next to the minimap, a small meter indicates the bike will have a finite amount of fuel. Deacon's bike also can break down. You can lose the motorcycle and will have to go find it. There will be motorcycle chases. You can communicate with the home base while on your bike. Just know that the bike is an integral element of the game, and it serves as one of the focal points of the game. Number 17. Now, any good open world game also has to have a little bit of variance to it, and that's why Days Gone will also implement a dynamic weather system, with each weather having a different effect. Rain will cause the roads to have less traction and reduce noise, making it easier to sneak, although enemies will be able to more easily sneak up on Deacon as well. There will also be times where there's going to be a lot of snow. That's going to reduce visibility and also give the freakers a boost in strength. Always like to see dynamic weather in a game, and in the case of Days Gone, it has direct impact to the gameplay as well, so that's being implemented in a very interesting way. Number 18, as is the case with any big budget PlayStation 4 exclusive, presentation is a big element, and of course visually this game looks stunning. It's running on the Unreal Engine 4, but I think one layer that is crucial to a game like Days Gone is the music, and the composer is Nathan Whitehead, who also did the music for The Purge. Essentially, that means I expect this game to be very atmospheric, the ambiance to be top notch, and we already know that the visuals are going to be very absorbing, but the music should be top notch as well. Number 19, now this is very exciting to me. Every PlayStation 4 exclusive, big budget ones at least, has also featured a photo mode, and that is so great because these PlayStation 4 titles are so gorgeous these days. I point to games like Horizon Zero Dawn, God of War, Spider-Man, and Days Gone will also have a photo mode. The vast Central Oregon wilderness is so beautifully crafted and rendered in the game, it's easy to forget that you're playing a game. The aim with photo mode was to make players feel like they're manipulating a real camera in the world. That was directly posted on the PlayStation blog with somebody from Sony Ben Studio. Love to see photo modes, especially in an open world game where players are sure to take some gorgeous images, and that'll be circulating all over social media. Just know that'll be a factor in Days Gone as well. And lastly, number 20, when are you going to be able to play Days Gone? Well, it's going to be released on April 26th for the PlayStation 4. Of course, it will be enhanced by the PlayStation 4 Pro, and there will be a wide variety of different versions available. You can buy the standard edition that contains the base game, also available digitally. There's the special edition that contains the base game, a steelbook case, a physical and digital art book, physical and digital original soundtrack, monkey and wrench skill unlock, 3 in-game drifter bike skins. Days Gone dynamic PlayStation 4 theme rounds out the special edition. There's the digital deluxe edition, which contains the base game, digital mini art book, the digital soundtrack, as well as the monkey wrench skill unlock. And finally, there's the collector's edition, which includes all the content from the special edition, and it also includes a statue of Deacon with his bike, 4 decals, a Days Gone patch, and 6 collector's pins. Also, if you do pre-order the game, you get a couple of unlocks. You'll get the drifter crossbow unlock, the nitrous upgrade 1, gas tank upgrade 1, and shroud upgrade 1. Again, Days Gone drops April 26th exclusively for the PlayStation 4. And that's gonna conclude this video. 20 huge things that you need to know about Days Gone before you buy. Sound off with all of your thoughts. Are you gonna pick up Days Gone on day one, or is this a game that you're still a little bit skeptical on and you're gonna wait for a sale or anything like that? Let me know. That's gonna conclude this video. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.